We will be doing the peppered moth activity here today. Background information. As you know, the theory of natural selection operates on the assumption that there is continuous variations within a species. That is, many traits found in a population of plants or animals vary in a smooth, continuous way from one extreme to another. Body weight, body length, and coat color are three traits that we might expect to find a continuous range of variations. In a normal distribution curve, most of the individuals fall near the middle of the range, with fewer individuals at the extreme. To see this, graph the human height variation on the graph below. Put the number of people on the y-axis and 4-foot people on the far bottom left, 6-foot people in the middle of that x-axis, and 8-foot people on the far right. This is the type of graph that you should see after going through the normal distribution curve of the height of humans in the earth. In this activity, you will study peppered moths, specifically their coloring and their size, and see how natural selection works when affecting their population. The procedure: you'll be divided into teams of 4, or we will use our pods for our groups. One group will get a black box and another group will get a green box. And you can pick those up on the black table up front. If you get a black tray, pick up the set of colored moths. They should be in the box already. If you pick up a green tray, pick up the square set. They are also green. Once the team member gets back with the box, they will spread out the moths or the squares in the tray. Then a second member will quickly draw out 5 moths or squares one at a time and place them on one of the 2 gradient cheat sheets. As a team, you will put the number of moths and number of squares that you pulled into either group 1 on the top data table or group 1 on the bottom. When those are all filled out, you will flip roles, and if you did the boxes the first time, you'll do the moths the second. When this is all done, you will need to tell the substitute teacher that you are done and they need to get the numbers from you, but please go and give them to them so they can give you class totals on the bottom. The middle number on the top is a combination of the 3 inner gray boxes to put the total middle number in the bottom on top. The darker numbers are the right 3 numbers, the lighter numbers are the left 3 numbers. On the square size, the middle one is just by itself. The smaller square has the 3 above it added together, and the larger squares have the 3 larger sizes added together for a class total. Once that is done, we will move down to the data analysis. Look at the class data for which color the moths were selected. Add up all the numbers on either side of the middle number. Do not include the middle number in the count. Did the class select more lighter colored moths or darker colored moths? Go and answer that now. After you do that, put the class total, light number, middle number, and darker number below. Once that is completed, go and answer how can you explain why the class got the results we did. Once you are done with either the box or the moth, you will move on to the second one. This one happens to be the squares. So look at the data for which different squared or size squares were selected. Add up all the numbers on either side of the middle number. Do not include the middle number in your count. Did the class select more small size squares or larger size squares? Once again, answer this right here on number 3. The smaller square, there needs to be a number of how many there was for the class total for that, a middle number for the class total, and the larger number for class total. Number 4 there, how can you explain the class results? Once number 4 is answered, move on to number 5. A scientist by the name of Kettlewall compared the color of moths in the forests of moths stored in a museum that had been collected from the same forest over 100 years ago. What he discovered illustrates a basic concept in biology. In a population of moths, there will be a normal distribution of colors, much like you saw in the height variation from the first page. That is, most of the moths will be average in color. A few will be lighter, and a few will be darker. If this normal distribution curve were to be drawn on the graph of the moth would look as follows. Go and draw your normal distribution curve in that space below. This is what the bell-shaped curve should look like. If you draw a little bell on the bottom, you can kind of go and see why we call it the bell-shaped curve. From this point on, it is extremely important that you go in order of the questions and not flip-flop around. Imagine most of the trees in the forest 100 years ago had bark that was light in color. In addition, some of the birds in the forest fed on the moths. What kind of moths would be eaten by the birds more frequently in this environment? Explain why. 6. If the uneaten moths mated, what color offspring would they tend to have a few more of? Number 7. Further imagine that after a number of years the nearby city became more and more industrialized. Smoke poured out of the chimneys and settled on the tree trunks. What would happen to the color of the tree trunks as time progressed or moved on? Number 8. What kind of moth would be eaten by the birds more frequently in this environment, and explain why? If the uneaten bird or moths mated, what color offspring would they tend to have a few more of? Number 10. As the years continued, the trees became darker and darker. If the surviving moths of each generation were to continue to mate, what do you think would happen in time to the color of the entire population of moths? You might say the moths evolved from one color to another. What caused the change to take place in the color of the moth? Number 12. To summarize, you have learned that individuals differ in a population. Because of these differences, some will have a better chance of surviving. So, which differences will give some individuals a better chance to survive in this environment of pepper moths? Give me at least 2. Number 13. According to Darwin, what was nature selecting in this environment? Or another way to say this is, what characteristics was the environment selecting for in the moths? Number 14. The giraffe survives by eating leaves off of trees. The giraffe did not, and I repeat, do not get its neck by stretching its neck to reach taller leaves. That is a common misconception. Using Darwin's theory, what you experienced here in this lab, how would you explain how the giraffes got their long neck? When this is done, please go and turn it into your biology finished work folder, and then you may get on to Zondel and review for the CRA with the final review 2015. All 9 of them are available for you to practice for the CRA. I hope to be back on Friday. We'll see you later.